This is an up-close documentary about the life story and the spiritual deliverance of Ronnie Gardner, a man who was once a hustler for the kingdom of darkness, but who had an encounter with God and is now an adamant servant for the kingdom of light. Thank you. Ronnie, thank you for allowing me to do this interview.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Why don't we start by doing a little bit of background, a little bit of history. And so the first question that I would like to ask you is, why did you choose to be a pimp?
Good question. Why I chose to be a pimp? Well, I had a theory that, and it's changed now, but I always believed that pimps were born to be pimps. Until now, I got on this side. Pimps had to have a desire to be a pimp. And all my life, I had a desire to get money. And you can call it get money aggressively and immorally. I didn't care how I get it, but I just wanted to get it. And the more I got, the more I want.
And so it didn't matter to you how you got it?
Nope.
So women became the commodity by how you got your money, basically.
Absolutely. Well, it goes beyond that. I don't want to glorify the lifestyle, none whatsoever, but pimping been going on from the beginning of time. Even back in slavery days, pimping and prostitution was developed. You had pimps that had the stage coaches, the light-colored horses, and yeah, through the history.
Wow.
And even back in slavery time, the light-skinned women, the master would have favor into the light-skinned women, so she can stay in the house and get more than the dark-skinned women. That's why a lot of babies was born half-breeded, because the master, the white man, was always had a desire for a black woman. And even now and today, it's still the same way. White man, a black woman is a fantasy to a white man. And he's gonna spend money. He don't have to, he do his business. He don't have to take her around the world, which some do. And he don't have to sleep with her and all 24/7 and hear her nag like a wife do sometimes. He pay his money, take care of his business, and go. It's real simple. So, you know, pimping been going on from the beginning of time.
So why did you choose it?
Why did I choose it?
Because you wanted to make money,
Right.
fast money.
Right. I was attracted to the lifestyle. I was always loved to dress. Always liked fancy cars, and even when I was as a kid, my role models were pimps and hustlers and dope dealers. Those was my role models. I grew up on Joseph Avenue and Jefferson Avenue, and I developed a desire to want to be like them, with the long hair and the perm and the manicured fingernails and the jewelry, the customized cars, and I wanted that. And eventually I found ways and means to live that life.
So what did it do for you as a man?
As a man, and that's a good question, because in that lifestyle, you have to protect your woman. You have to protect the prostitute. And sometimes people, you're going up to all these different cities, and people think pimps are soft, but you's a man first. You understand? So I'm a man first before whatever title you put on me. I'm a man first, and you're going to respect me as a man. You know, people have this thing about all you do is care about the money, but I had feelings for my women, but I had to detach my feelings. I couldn't like show them too much love because they would take advantage of that and they would get out of pocket. And get out of pocket, when I mean get out of pocket, they would think that the pimp is soft and take advantage of him and cause chaos up in his stable. See, so every now and then a pimp had to be firm and had to be about your business in order for them to be about your business. If a woman see any weakness, that's fear. And then they're going to figure, well, how can this man protect me if he's weak? See, a woman, a prostitute, wants a strong man that's going to protect her, that's going to take care of her family and take care of her bills and everything she needs. I had this thing that whatever a woman thought of what she wanted, I made sure it was there before her. Give me what I want, and I'm going to give you what you want.
Well, was that part of your controlling her? Or was that, you know what I mean? Was that part of you controlling her? Or was that part of you saying you cared for them, but you couldn't show that you really cared? Right.
You pimps couldn't show that you was in love because it's a sign of weakness.
So did you love all of your women?
Yeah, I loved them. Now, as far as in love,
oh boy, we're about to get technical, huh?
As far as in love, I honestly, kids, don't know if I was in love.
But you loved them.
Oh,
enough to care, to have
yeah.
enough compassion to make
absolutely.
sure that their needs were met.
Absolutely. And believe it or not, I would die for them.
Really?
And what I mean by that, die for them, if another pimp would come up and try to strong arm one of my women, and he could be crazy, and I can't say, well, I don't know what he's going to be about. I got to go to her rescue. And I've known pimps get their brains blowed out.
Was that more to protect your commodity, to protect your property? Because I think most people would think of, had that thought process of a pimp as being someone, especially when you're pimping women, or another human being, is that person becomes your possession.
Absolutely.
The person becomes like property, and it's a protection, therefore, stemming from that you don't want to use that, you don't want to lose the very thing that fills your pocket, that brings your pocket to be filled, your money. Or is it really because you care?
The
because
whole
the
package.
motivator is you want to make money.
The whole package, but I cared about them. It wasn't just about the money with me. I mean, I cared about them. I cared about their kids. Their kids became my kids.
But is that a part of how you control your woman?
Well, yes, because I had guidelines. I had guidelines.
Okay.
I had rules that they had to abide by.
What were they?
Well, I didn't tolerate getting high. I didn't tolerate them spending all night with a John. It's for the John pleasure and not hers. See, she had to better not enjoy whatever she's doing with the guy. She better not enjoy it. If I found out that she enjoyed it, I would be very angry. Now, under that angry, ain't no telling what might happen behind me getting angry. And that's one thing they didn't want to do. They didn't want to make me angry.
What would you do to them?
Well, what would I do to them? See, I believe in a mental spanking, because a woman can take a lot. A woman can stand in a bus stop, 20 below zero, 10 below zero with a skirt on, and don't feel the effect of the cold. It's like us guys. We got to put on coats, boots, extra socks, gloves, scarves, and all that. But a woman don't have to do all that. So a woman, as far as physically beating them, that's not going to do anything for them. I had a thing where I would give them a mental spanking. I would whoop the mind. And whooping the mind means like if they really fell in love with me and didn't want to leave, okay? So what I would do is what I call fire them. I would fire them, mean you got to go. Get them a plane ticket, pack their suitcase, and send them on. And that's not what they wanted. They did not want to be fired.
Right, because now you've drawn them in.
Mhm.
They're totally dependent upon you.
Mhm.
You become their God.
Yeah.
Their survival depends upon you. And so when you kind of come and pull the rug from underneath them, what else? I mean, what
They
else are
can't,
they
they,
going to
they're
do?
lost. Like that song Olivia, Lost and Turned Out. They are lost. And I had women leave me, and I didn't like to set quotas, because you set quotas. If I said you got to bring me $2,000 a night, now what if she had a John? She go to work at 8 o'clock, and she got one John that gave her $2,000 by 9 o'clock. She got $2,000, so her night was finished. So that's why I didn't set no quota, because now she got that $2,000 from 8 to 9. Now she got a chance to go out there and get another $2,000. That's why I never set quotas on them.
So what happens to their money that they make on a daily basis? Did you collect?
I got it all.
So you collected, so they didn't have anything?
They didn't
They ever
have
get
not
dispersed
one
anything to
dime, not
ship?
one
So
dime.
everything, they all had,
Every penny.
everything had to come from you?
Everything had to come from me, because if I give a woman money and she let her keep her money, she's subject to go crazy.
So her requirement, a requirement to be one of your women was that they couldn't enjoy what they were doing,
Mhm.
couldn't enjoy the sex. They, no drugs,
No drugs.
right?
No,
And they couldn't spend all night.
no. Well, unless they get paid for it.
John, unless
If
they get paid.
for it.
Okay. And what else? Could they be married, or could they not be married? How did that
No,
work?
no. And,
No
and
one that was married. Was there any age limitations?
Well, it got to a point where age did matter, but because you got to remember, I got into the game at a very young age.
How old were you?
When I first got my first hooker, I think I was 16 years old.
Now, how did you get your
16.
first hooker at 16? Did you recruit
16.
her, or did she recruit you?
We kind of both recruited each other. We kind of got each other.
I was doing some.
Yeah,
reading on it, and
we kind of got each other, because one, which I call my bottom woman, she had a 68 Cadillac going to Franklin, and I had a 1969 Cadillac
In high school?
in high school.
Okay.
And she was fly as all outdoors, and I was fly. That's when I wore the Stetson hats, and I was wearing gaiters then.
Mhm.
Back then I was selling weed. I was selling weed, and that helped get my fronts together, my pimp gear together. And then when I was sharp, and this woman liked me, and I liked her, and I was reading Iceberg Slim's books. I was reading Iceberg Slim. It's funny, because I got a lot of knowledge out of Iceberg Slim books. Because, and then I remember when I was in jail, at the county jail, we had like a mezzanine. It's called the M floor, the mezzanine.
Mhm.
Well, the mezzanine really at one time used to be for the movies. We used to go down once a week, in every floor, whoever want to go to the movies, go to the movies. Well, back then you had cigarettes in jail. You had family can bring you what you want. You can wear your pajamas in jail. So I had the perm going on, and I had the smoking jacket. I had the black satin pants on, the black slippers, and to them I was a pimp guard in jail. and I always had this thing: the game is to be told and not sold, be sold and not told. Okay, game is to be bought and not taught. So I promise you, I had young guys come to me with candy bars and cigarettes so I can spit game to them, so I can teach them the pimping game. I had a crowd of guys around me to learn the game.
Wow. That's
To
interesting.
learn in the
That's
jailhouse.
interesting.
Yeah, brought me cigarettes and candy bars so I could give them the game.
Wow. So when we move from playing to praying, and I'm going to jump back to playing in a minute, but when we go to praying,
Mhm.
now, that is very influential, what you just shared.
Mhm.
How people saw your walk,
Mhm.
and it sold, and,
Right.
and it drew them.
Right.
Now, we know that you are an ordained deacon in the church, correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People have to see your walk today,
Mhm.
different kind of walk, a walk for the kingdom of light, right? For
Right.
God.
Right.
Are you still drawing? Except now you're drawing for a different God.
Absolutely. And it's funny because even when I was in the streets, people always saying, man, when the book coming out, when the book coming out. They was joking. And I, you know, I'm not trying to get that lifestyle of glory or brag about it, sound grandiose, but whatever I did it well. And I was one of the best pimps on the East Coast. Okay, I don't know too many guys could out pimp me. Even today, I'm still well known, the famous, infamous Ronnie G. I'm still well known cross country. But, you know, at one time I had gave a player's ball. I wasn't saved yet. I had gave a player's ball, and I had people come from all over the world. And I kind of was ashamed to let them know that I was in the church. But one of the guys he called me, he was in Vegas. He said, man, I heard you was in the church. I felt like 500 pounds was lifted off of me. Because now, I don't have to be ashamed of God. See, sometimes God will intuitively do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. I still needed acceptance because I had gained so much from that world.
Power.
Here, a lot of power. I'm famous.
Power is powerful.
Okay? I'm famous.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that. But when they called me and say, man, I heard you doing that church thing, I was so relieved. Yes,
But
that's
you know,
what I'm
because,
doing.
you know, you got their approval.
Right.
So, but you really didn't need their approval.
No.
But there is that side of us, that human side, that, you know, it's hard not to seek the human approval, especially at the level that you were at.
Right.
I mean, you know, you're always, that's going to be there. But with that much influence and that much power, now you had not been ordained yet.
No.
But you were in the church.
Right.
Had you gotten the word that you were going to be a deacon?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that was your last.
No, that was the first one. I had did two.
Oh, you did too.
Right.
Now, okay, when you did the second one, you had gotten your word
Right.
that you were going to be an ordained deacon
Right.
in the church.
Right.
How did that come about?
How did that come about? Well, because how I got to be ordained deacon.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had been going to your church,
Right.
to your church home.
Right, and then I went to one of the churches in Buffalo, and and I had friends that were already deacons, and they were sitting in the deacon section, and I didn't know nobody in the church, and I wanted to sit over there with my friends. Well, one of the elders come and say, you're not authorized to sit over there. So me, like, yo, dude, do you know who I am? I'm the infamous Ron G. Do you know who I am? You really don't know who you're talking to. So, you know, I had a little temper tantrum, and I said, I ain't got to sit over there. So I went over there, and one of the mothers came and got me, and she said, you come sit with us. You ain't got to sit over there. And then two of the deacons came. Well, one of the ministers and one of the deacons said, no, you come sit with us. So I'm thinking that the bishop, want to talk to me, want to calm me down, say, listen, we're not having that in our church. So I was scared when one of the ministers came out and said, the bishop wants to talk to you. And so I put that in a book. He was sitting behind his mahogany desk. He had his little bow tie on and his jacket off, and he was hitting his pencil on the desk. And he said, Ronnie Gardner, I want you to be a deacon. And I just broke down and started crying. I broke down and started crying because people was telling me or was asking me, was I a preacher? Because I had done some plays. And I was a preacher in some of the plays. And people really thought that I was an ordained preacher. They really thought I was a preacher. And so, you know, I kept hearing, you know, preacher, and now here he is asking me to be a deacon, and I just bust out, start crying, because now I know for sure that God had a higher calling on my life, and I accepted. I didn't look back like, oh, what am I going to do? I just trusted God. I just trusted Him.
And when you got the word that you were going to be a deacon, did you think that you were going to be where you are today? Did you think that this would all be unfolding? I mean, did you think that your life your testimony basically is your testimony is now being an evangelistic tool for the kingdom of light? Did you think that it's almost like a heavy weight, to be honest with you, that it's bittersweet, almost to say. I mean, that was my experience. It's like, okay, God, you can't be calling me, but then again, because God is so big and so awesome, you have to believe if he calls me, he'll call anybody. He can do anything with me now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's nothing that you can conquer at that particular point. You know, it's so much. I don't know if you felt this way, but this is how I felt when I got the word.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to walk with that word.
Right.
It's not like the ordination happens right away. I don't know how long it took you before you were ordained, but even when you get the word, when that seed comes into your life, that's like, bam, something happens.
Something happened. You go through trial and error. That's what happened.
And you're more
you
sensitive,
go through
right?
trial and error. Woo. And you know, it's nobody told me to put on the whole armor of God. Nobody told me that. So it's like the people who prayed for me, family members who prayed for me, when I told them that I was being ordained to be a deacon, it felt like they wasn't celebrating me. And I'm saying, y'all prayed for me to get off the streets. And that was the worst hurt. You ain't got no business in nobody's pulpit. Make sure you was called.
And you know what? I experienced the same thing because and what I found out was that people were praying for me. Oh, God is going to use you greatly for the kingdom. I don't want to turn this on me.
Right.
But then when they found out I was being ordained as a pastor, people got mad.
Mm-hmm.
They were mad.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what the Spirit told me was, they never thought you superseded them. You weren't supposed to supersede them.
Okay. I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it like, it's just like, ooh, that thing hurt. And I know some other deacons who, I remember 3 of us was on the phone. One, I don't want to get into detail, but something happened to one of them. It got real soiled, real bad. And another one, wife had did something to them. And so all 3 of us on the phone crying. Nobody told us it was going to be this hard. Well, yeah, I don't know, but we came too far to turn around. We come too far. And my struggle was, it's like, I didn't see too many pimps who turned their life around. And I didn't have no role model. I left my role model, so now I'm in a life that I know nothing about. But I found out a couple of ex-pimps, they're ministers now, even right now, and I know one of them is a bishop now. And I said, well, God chose me. He chose me to be a light to the people who I left behind. And I don't ever want to get too big to where I can't forget my friends. Those are my friends. You understand? Did nobody forget me? Did nobody turn their back on me? I still call them and converse with them. I got people, I got a dope dealer friend of mine calls me regular and asks me to pray with him and pray for him. Okay, I don't care what he's doing, what he's going, he calls me and asks me to pray for him. I got all my friends in another fellowship. Anytime we go on a bus trip, they call me to pray for them. I got people who know where I came from. Yo, I need that hit, man. I need you to pray. My mother just went to the hospital. I just went through it over the weekend. I had one of the biggest weddings in Rochester. The mother was getting ready for the wedding, and the mother had to go to the hospital. And they asked me to pray for the mom. You know what I mean? I give all the honor and glory to God. I don't want to take nothing from him, because without him, I wouldn't be nothing. And I truly believe in the intercessory prayers. And I know God didn't save me. He did what he had to do for me. Now it's what I'm willing to do for his people. You know, the book, I just recently read my book. I just got it back the other day they downloaded it to me, and I had to highlight a couple of words that was misspelled. And man, when I read that book, I just saw God through it. I'm saying, man, I went through that.
Right.
You hear people saying, man, I don't look like what I've been through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't look like what I've been through. Springfield, Massachusetts. I was in the middle of the street. The cops came, they called them Starsky Hutch, put the guns to my head, made me get out the car. I'll never forget, I had a 1978 Fleetwood Cadillac with the tire on the back, the grills, the buckles. Left my car in the middle of the street with the doors open. Took me on a railroad track. It was about a block away. Took me on the railroad tracks. Made me take all my clothes off and strip, and told me they want me out of town. And then they slapped me upside the head with the gun and pulled the trigger at the same time. And I started screaming. I said, I'm finna leave now. I'm finna leave now. So they said, we know you are. So I grabbed my clothes, put my clothes on, and went downstairs in the bus station and got in the corner and crawled, got in a fetal position. Man, I was so scared. I just knew I was gonna die that night. And so they had left, put my clothes on, and went to the bar called the Vanilla Tree. And I ran to the bar, jumped behind the bar, and I never forget the bartender named P.I. He went and got my car and parked my car for me. My car was still in the middle of the street. So I don't look like what I've been through.
Well, you know that's God.
Yeah.
You know that's God.
Yeah. I got shot in the after-hour joint. And they took me to the hospital, and I'm screaming and crying. And they shot me in the butt with the Novocaine, and I'm still crying. And my partner named Jailhouse, Robert Carlos, he's dead now. He got killed in Florida. And he said, he called me Daddy Rich. He said, Daddy Rich, why are you still crying? And I thought about it, and I said, I don't know, because I wasn't feeling no pain after they shot me up with the Novocaine. So I called my mom and said, Mom, they're going to call you and tell you I've been shot, but I'm okay. I ain't dead. I'm still alive. Yeah.
You still cry today, though.
Yeah, I still cry.
You're
Yeah, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry.
But you know what? Even after you got the word,
Mm-hmm.
we talked a little bit about this, even after you got the word about you being ordained,
Mm-hmm.
you said you had to do one last event.
Right,
Black Diamond.
right. Black Diamond's Affair.
The Black
Okay.
Diamond's Affair.
That was my going away party of the streets. That was my last thing of going in the street. That was it. That's it. Ron G. That's the last time y'all gonna see him. And people, because of the first one, people was calling it the Players Ball.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the Black Diamond Affair. I had gave away a mink coat. I had gave away a $1,000 gobbler, and I had sold seats for $600 because anything I did it well. And just people, I had more spectators than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just I had people from the church coming to see what it was about, coming to spy and see was it a Players Ball.
So what was it? What was
It was a
about?
Black Diamond Affair.
So
It was-
people were getting dressed up.
It was getting dressed
extravagant
up,
dressing.
yep, the limos and everything. It just didn't have the Players Ball concept.
But did a lot of pimps show up?
My friends showed up.
Your friends.
My friends showed up. My friends showed up. They support anything I do. Now what I want them to do is come to church.
Okay, I was just going to ask you.
Now I want them to come to church.
How do they feel about that? How do they feel about church? Or some of them, you get them in, you don't get them in, you know.
Well, I called Vegas. I got a friend out in Vegas named Phil. He retired. He got his own business out in Vegas. And I sometimes thinking that them guys are still in the game. And most of them is not in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to them on Facebook. They got jobs, they got businesses. And it's one or two that's still doing what they do. But it's hope for everybody because it was hope for me.
Yes. And that hope came when you had an encounter with God.
Absolutely. And you're going to know. You're going to know when it's God.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to know when it's God. And, I'm not bragging or trying to sound grandiose. I got a house. I got a white-collar job. I look forward to going to work every day. I love my job. I didn't think I was able to work, but, hey.
Why not?
I thought working was for suckers. I thought you had a problem if you had a job, right?
But isn't the whole submission thing, like you got to submit to somebody else's rules and regulations?
Yeah, I made
You're used to being
more
in
money
charge.
than what a job can make. I'm talking about, $200,000-$300,000 a year wasn't nothing for me to make. Okay.
What do you say to the young hustlers today?
That what I say to them is that it's all gonna fall. Okay, it's all gonna fall. In all the party poopers, everybody gonna leave. It's hard being at the top. It's lonely at the top. Everybody's gonna leave as soon as you fall. But see, I had lost everything, derelict, sleeping in abandoned cars. I lost everything, but I found out that I had to decrease in order for God to increase.
And it was at that point that you had your encounter with God.
With God.
In the rain.
In the rain, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget. I had a raggedy army coat on. Hadn't showered, hadn't eaten. And I just looked up to heaven and said, God help me. I wasn't speaking in tongues. I wasn't sprouting this Lord's Prayer, long, none of that. I just said, God help me. And today I know that it's not the length of your prayer, the sincere of your heart.
Yes. He's waiting. He's always there with open arms. He's just waiting for us to submit and give it to him.
Right. You know, I can talk to any dope dealer, any pimp. They're going to listen to me because of who I was out there. Who I was. Not who I am today, but who I was. And they respect me. They respect me. I talk to them. When I go to the dope dealers, I talk to them about dope, how much it used to cost. When I go around the pimps, I talk to them how it was. We didn't have cell phones back then. So now I got their attention because I'm speaking their lingo. I got their attention, and then I sneak them in with the gospel.
And it works?
It works.
And it works.
It works.
Yeah, you know, it's always, God prepares us. And you know, I think what happened in your life, what you chose, what you were doing previous to Christ, you know, that's preparation for where he's going to take you to and how he's going to use you in the kingdom.
Absolutely.
You know, because everybody can't do and minister to the people that you can minister to and get a breakthrough.
Okay. Okay. You sure could come in my face talking that about that God stuff. No. You want to see one of my girls? We can talk to him. He want to talk to you. He don't want to talk to me.
What did your mother think about you being a...
Oh, my mother detested pimps. She always said this, even in the play and in the book, it's a part about my mother. My mother detested pimps. She always said it's a thin line between a pimp and a punk. My mother always wanted me to get a job. She said, "You son, you got to get a job." She said, I'll never forget this. She said, "You're not going to have a pension. You're not going to be able to draw Social Security." She said, "You're not going to be able to do nothing." She said, "You can't retire with that lifestyle." Oh, she was totally against it. When I brought my girls to town, go to my mother's house, she would lock them up in her room where I couldn't get to them when I want them to go to work. She interfered with my pimping a lot. But you know what? I had respect for my mother. I never cussed around her. I never drank around her. I never smoked around her. My mother died in '89. I would give her the utmost respect.
Now, were you out of the lifestyle then?
Yeah. I was out. Yeah, she got to see it.
A new creature
She
in
got to
Christ?
see it. Yes, she did. And my mother had got saved. You know, she come from the nightclub and from selling the nightclub to getting saved and to being a security guard. Now that was some humility. Okay, the get rid of a $500,000 nightclub to be in security. Okay, because she didn't want nothing to do with the nightclub anymore. And she turned her life to Christ, and she was going to church, Bible study faithfully. So she died of MS in 1989, and I know she's in heaven because she loved the Lord. She loved the Lord. Now, my mother wasn't no saint back in the day. Now, she was a rough one. Now, she was a fighter. She was a fighter.
We all fall short of the glory of God.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank God she got to see you make the transition in your life and the transformation. That probably made her extremely happy.
Oh yeah.
And what about your father?
My father, I had a resentment to him. God is so good. I had a resentment towards my father because when I was young, you know, I played basketball. He never came to none of my games. Football, Pop Warner for Baden Street. He never came to none of my games. And I said, you know, I was one of the biggest pimps on the East Coast. He never acknowledged me. He never gave me my props. Well, he was from Trenton, New Jersey, and my aunt called me. My aunt Yvonne called me, and she said, "You need to get here. Your father's on his deathbed." And I said, I'm going to cuss him out. That's what I'm going to do, cuss him out and ask him why he ain't never been in my life. And I talked to some people, and they say, "Ronnie, whatever you do, pray first. Pray before you go." And when I got to the hospital, I drove all the way to Trenton, New Jersey. When I got to the hospital, the resentment from me praying, the resentment was lifted. And all I could do was say, "Dad, I love you." And he said, "I love you." That's all I needed to hear. And I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace with it. I don't care. He didn't have to tell me that 1,000 times. That one time, I'm good with that. Like they say, some kids are very forgiving with their mom, but I'm forgiving with my pop. And I believe you touch the heart when you come from the heart. And I believe when he said he loved me, I believe he came from his heart because he touched my heart.
That was all he could do.
Yeah.
We can't ask for more from a person than what they have.
Can have. That's right, to the best of their ability. That's why with my kids, I say to the best of my ability, I can't do no more. You know what I mean? Like some of my kids have resentments. Only thing I wasn't a father then. Only thing I can do is be a father now. I got kids 30-something years old, 40. I got a daughter 40, and I can't turn back the hands of time. Only thing I can do is be there for you now. Right. And you're not going to send me on no guilt trip either. Right. I mean, I'm not responsible. I'm accountable, but I'm not responsible for my past. I'm accountable. And you're not going to send me on no guilt trip.
You remind me so much, if I had to get a Bible character, it would be the Apostle Paul. Mm-hmm. And I know you know the Apostle Paul. Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Murderer of Christians.
That's my favorite.
People tremble, Christians tremble when Paul comes around. And even in the book of Corinthians, he has to continue to tell people, you know what, you're not going to hold me bondage to my past. Mm-hmm. When he even has to talk about, they want to say, Paul, you're not a real true apostle, because they want to judge him on what he was doing before. But we all know he had the encounter on the road to Damascus. Mm-hmm. But Paul makes it clear to the people, you're not going to hold me in bondage today.
That's right. That's right. Amen. Amen. That's
I'm now on a new journey.
That's right.
And I'm going forward.
That's right.
So either you accept it or you don't.
That's right.
But Paul says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Right. That's right.
And people have to get on that journey with you, or like he said, you're not going to let them hold you down.
Nope, not no more.
You can't do that. So if moving forward for the Ronnie Gardner today, mm-hmm. and I'm very impressed with who you are.
Thank you.
I'm not familiar with your life, your past journey. Mm-hmm. I know that whenever I encountered you, you were always a very kind person. Mm-hmm. Very kind, very sweet, very sensitive. And so that's the Ronnie Gardner that I know. So the Ronnie Gardner today, though, has a lot going on for the kingdom of God. You're a deacon. Mm-hmm. You got your book coming out. Mm-hmm. You got a fantastic play mm-hmm. that is now being used as an evangelistic tool.
That's right. Amen.
Speak a little bit about that.
The play is based on my life story, and it's how the play even started. I was on Facebook. I knew I had the book, the DVD, and it was on Monday, and I thought about calling some people and say, "Hey, do you want to do a play on my life?" And the Holy Spirit said, "No, that's ego." Mm-hmm. So I aborted that idea. I said, I didn't hear nothing from God. God didn't tell me to ask them people about a play. So Wednesday, mm-hmm. Janet Baxter hit me on Facebook. She don't know what I thought we're thinking on Monday. She hit me on Facebook, said, "Hey, you ever thought about doing a play?" And it blew me away. Because I say, now that's of God.
Confirmation.
Yeah, that's of God. Now we can move forward. Now we can do the play. I never met Janice, never saw her, never even heard of her. She said she heard of me, but I never heard of her. And we met we had lunch over on Chai Life. We had lunch over there, and she did an interview with me, wrote some stuff down. And she said when I came in, I was on the phone, and I was so mannerable who I was talking to. "Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir." And she said, And this guy used to be a pimp. You know, this guy used to
God
be a
is
pimp.
good, right?
Yeah, and pimping is a big front. It's a big front. You know, like I say, I'm a man first. I'm a child of God. And I'm just so glad that my folks prayed for me long enough for me to be able to say that prayer, God help me. Prayed for me long enough for me to say that prayer, God help me.
That's key. That's key. And even through all of this, now some people would struggle with, I think, the fact that you chose to pimp, so that means some people think you would devalue women. But even today, you have made a pretty big step, right? You have a very special.
Yeah, I have a
life.
significant other. I am engaged. We don't have a date yet, but hopefully we will get one soon. I'm not in a rush
Okay.
because when I give it to God, I don't take it back. So I gave the relationship and engagement to God. I gave it to Him, and I said, let His will be done. And that's what we as Christians have to learn how to do. Have to learn how to say an uncowardly prayer. Don't be afraid of results, whatever God say. See, I pray for the knowledge of God's will, but I also ask Him for the power to carry it out.
Amen. So the play is now taken off.
Yeah, the play is doing good. We did it in June, and it's a little guy who plays me when I was 10 years old from the shoe shine box. And then the transition, I go to jail, and my mother come and say, "You reading this pimp book? What are you trying to do? Study to be a pimp?" She said, "Don't you know a pimp is one step away from being a punk?" She said, "I raised you better than that." And so we did the play in June, and it wasn't even play season. It was people was doing graduation, people was doing family reunions, and we still had a great turnout. Friday night, 2 people got saved. Saturday night, 10 people got saved. And I got ex-pimp friends of mine was on Facebooks, that's preachers now, that I met through Facebook, and they was talking about the 12 disciples. And it blew me away. It blew me away. And then my bishop, he saw the play, and he was saying that the play is so evangelizing. He wants us to go to Buffalo. And we just following God, trying to be obedient.
So after Buffalo, what then? Do you have anything else?
Well, we had a few calls from Georgia, and I had a friend of mine call me from California, and I got a friend in Chicago wants to play to come to Chicago, and I got another friend that wants to play to come to Detroit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
But I don't want to take credit for nothing. I want God to get the glory for it. I don't ever feel as though it's about me. I don't think about the money. I don't think about the proceeds. All I want to do is win life. If I'm not the cast, but if I can do it free, I would do it free. But you got costs, you got to pay for the sounds, you got to pay for the cameras, you got to pay, you got a cost, you got overhead. But if I can do it free, I would do it free. And maybe I can talk to my partner one day, we can do a community, give back to the community.
I think that would be very good for
give back to the ones who can't afford it.
Do a setting just for our young hustlers, our youth hustlers. How do some of your ex-women, I want to make sure I'm saying this right, how do some of your women who used to work for you feel about the play, feel about the book? Because now, your life is being opened up, but some other people's lives are being opened up as well.
Well, not really. It's fear there. It's fear that their lives are being opened up.
Okay.
And I would never put their name in the play. I would never put their name in the book. I would never mention their name. Number one, I don't want to get sued. And number two, I'm not about hurting people. Okay? I mean, they deal with their past in their way. I deal with mine my way.
Is this helping you to deal with your past? Is it helping you to become more, anchored in the Lord? Is it helping with your deliverance? How is it helping?
Well, it's helping me not to judge people more because of where I came from. And it's reassuring me that I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me.
Yes.
Because the cars, the house, I lost all of that. But now I got everything better than what I had. And I'm able to keep it. And I don't have to look over my shoulder, worrying about going to jail, worrying about getting robbed, because I'm under the ark of safety now. Before I was not under the ark. Well, I was and didn't know it.
Right.
I was and didn't know it.
Didn't know, but his blessings comes without sorrow.
Right.
So that's the difference. We can really enjoy the blessings of the Lord, like you said, without having to look over our shoulder.
Absolutely.
There's a peace beyond understanding
Absolutely.
when his blessings come about. So what, after the play, are you planning anything further after the play, or?
Oh. Well, I had this one guy came to me and he asked me, did I want to do a movie? And I said, that's a bit much.
Wow.
So I'm going to continue to trust God right now, because this is overwhelming for me right now. Right now I'm good and comfortable right now. Yeah, I don't want to get overwhelmed. I don't want to ever, ego's edging God out. I don't want to ever get too cocky to remove God from what he's done for me, to where I turn this into a money thing. I don't ever want that to happen. You know, God has blessed me financially to where I don't have to look at this to sell my testimony. And I'm not about selling my testimony. I'd rather for it to get out there free. I just want people, but it's a cost. The book, I got to pay for the book. I had to pay for the editing. You know, I got to pay for the publishing. But if it's up to me, I'll give it away free.
I remember reading on Facebook a post, and I think I talked to you about it at church one day. A young lady said that she was a little confused about some of your postings, because, and it had to do, I think it was, you would post, and you know, you still have your style. I think you still got your swag sometimes. So, if, you know, and it could be from someone looking from the outside in. She was a little confused because I think you had the goblet in one of your pictures. So she was trying to, she said, I'm confused. I don't understand who you really are.
I remember that.
And some people came back to you and said, you don't have to explain anything. And I remember I came to you in church, I think that Sunday, and I didn't say, I just said, Ronnie, you know what? Don't look at it as explaining, but look at it as what? Giving your testimony.
Right.
And that's what you begin to do, which I was glad you begin to explain, so people, because then you can put Christ in the picture.
Right. And what she tried to do is character assassinate me. That was her motives.
And it didn't work.
I know, and I recognized, because she thought people was going to feed in. She thought people was going to feed in. And they didn't feed into that. And usually when I get negativity like that, I delete them. But I said, I can handle this.
No, you can.
I can handle this.
Yeah.
And some of the criticism, I take it and turn it to help me. Maybe I need to take a look at this. People was getting on me about my Throwback Thursday pictures because of the long perm. I mean, I pimped for over 30 years. So that's all.
The long perm, your suits, your canes,
okay,
your goblets.
So that's all I did. I don't have
I used to look at it too and say, look at Jenkins.
You know, I don't have pictures like everybody else.
Right,
you know what I mean?
go.
Your Throwback Thursday, your Throwback Thursday, mine are mine. So if you don't want me to put mine up there, don't put yours up there. Come on. I got a bald spot. I don't have a perm anymore.
Look at the thing and look at
No,
this. That's
my waist
funny,
was
though.
a
That's a good way
29
to put
waist.
it.
I'm at 42 right now.
That's a good way to
Come
put
on.
it. And you know, we can't become so judgmental.
Right.
You know what I mean? And look through the lens of our own lens. We become so narrow-minded. And I was sharing this, is that people ought to step out of the whole church, conventional church world, and try going in a prison sometime. And you're going to be shocked at what you see. Because the armor bearer, the praise and worship leader, the worship dancer, the usher, all are inmates.
That's right.
So if they can do it, and if God chooses to use them in that
Okay.
particular setting,
That's right.
we can't really judge.
Exactly.
God is going to, He reigns on the just and the unjust.
That's right.
But I thought
Amen.
that was so funny. I said, man, when I look for Thursdays on there, the
Yeah.
Throwback Thursdays, I already know what I'm going to see. But I've been enjoying your pictures because I know who you are now.
Right, and people say it. People say, no, don't take them, because I had stopped. I had let other people dictate what I put up there. I had stopped. And I had people say, no, we enjoy those pictures. Come on, man, that's all I know.
It speaks to a part of our culture back then too.
Right,
It speaks to where
right,
society was at a
right.
particular time.
Right,
So-
people was happy to see the one I put up with Fight Square. Oh, that Fight Square? They wasn't talking about the hat, the OJ suit with the chest hanging out, you know what I mean? They was talking about Fight Square and the old Cadillacs and stuff. People got a kick out of some of that stuff.
You got to throw up some of your deacon stuff now.
Yeah,
How do you feel about putting that on Facebook?
with the overweight and the ball spot.
Jeez.
That's what you're talking about. So,
We don't see that.
well, what I try to do, I try to keep a balance. Because now, I promise you, and I would do it just to show you how they would assassinate my character.
That's the job of the enemy.
Okay? Oh, 1 week you putting pimp pictures up there, now you putting a deacon. Come on, make your mind up. You follow me?
But that's the job of the enemy.
Right, so I know that's why I didn't, and another thing, you don't see me posting my kids, my job, certain things is off limit with Facebook. I mean, I'll put up a scripture every now and then, but certain things is off limit.
Do you have a favorite scripture?
What was that? 1 Timothy, 2nd chapter, verse 12.
Yeah, paraphrase it. What was that one about on our cover?
You did it. It was talking about Timothy when he was saying, I once was a blasphemer, a murderer, and a persecutor. But God forgive me, He had grace for me because I did it in ignorance and unbelief. And I called the two twins for His grace and mercy. He called me into His service. He called me into His service.
He called you,
He called
not anybody else.
me. No.
Amen. Yes. The Ronnie Gardner today, if you wanted to say something to the world regarding, you were once a player, but now you're praying. You've gone from playing to praying. What do you want the world to know? What does that mean? And what do you want the world to know about you and about the God that you serve?
Well, this walk is serious. I love the Lord. He has proven to me over and over again that He loves me. And every now and then, the thought of the nightlife, I'm not going to lie, it comes, but God pushes it out and replaces it with my job, me focusing on my 401k. Like I said, I had a problem with getting a job. I didn't know how to fill out an application. I went to people who knew how to fill out an application and asked them to show me. I didn't know how to be a father. I went to my friends that are being fathers and asked them to show me how to be a father. Guys who being in committed relationship, I asked them to show me how to be committed to a relationship. Because my thing is, anybody, and I don't know where I'm going with this here, anybody can go outside your relationship, but it takes a man to be committed to one woman. To one woman, it takes a man to be committed. So this walk, man, anybody can do it. If God can do it through me, He can do it through you. Anybody. Just one day at a time. Sometimes I do it 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time. And just for the day, that's all I have. Just for the day.
Amen. Amen. We want to thank you so much for watching the documentary on the life of Ronnie Gardner, from playing to praying. A man who truly had one time worked and hustled for the kingdom of darkness, but now has turned his life around and has given his life to Christ and allows the Lord to use him to influence others and to be an adamant servant for the kingdom of light. We hope that you have enjoyed this documentary, and we pray that the Lord will speak to you through the documentary to let you know that you too are valuable to the kingdom of God, and God can use any man or any woman to do his service. Thank you, and God bless.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus. And reaches the highest mountain. Yes, God. Yes, God. It's the love that gives you strength.
Philistines, Saviors came and they filled his wells with dirt.
Yeah.
And Abimelech said in his eyes, "You need to go from us, but you are much mightier than we are, and we don't want to get caught up in your stuff." So Isaac departed. Sir, go to a concert and certain folk ain't singing. Oh, this hot mess, I'm getting up out of here. What you doing in there? Why are you coming? It's about the personality instead of
It's pimp or die, pimp or die. I think the word pimp sometimes it has a stigma to it. You know what I mean? That people like misunderstand pimp because like it was used like when people think of pimp, they think of misusing women and stuff of that nature. You know what I mean? And like you said, pimping is a science. It was a science for a lot of people from back then. They took it as a science. They didn't just take it as let's abuse women and let's just misuse women. It was like a lifestyle. You know what I mean? And it was an aura about you. It's the way you walk, the way you talk. And for a lot of people, that's something they're born with. It's not something they can get rid of. You know what I mean? The way they walk, and the way they talk, and the way they move, and that attraction that they have, they can't get rid of that. That's not something he can just walk away from. He gonna always attract people around him. You know what I'm saying? Something he's born with. That's out of his hands. Everything that's in his hands, he worked on it, and he got together. Stuff that's out of his hands, him being, you know what I'm saying? Attractive man, all that, he can't fix that. He can't fix that he attract people around him. And I'm not talking about just in the physical sense, just being an attractive person, a good person that attract good people.
Speaking on Ronnie Gardner, who's a good friend of mine, that's truly blessed, has came a long way in his life. First of all, let me say that my name is Earl Kennard. I put my time in. I've been in the street. I turned my life around just as well as Brother Ronnie Gardner. I first met Brother Ronnie in about, I say the year 1981. I was fresh out, coming out of the military, came back to a life where fast money came, fast women, fast cars, and that was something that I was intrigued by. I first met Brother Ronnie down at F&S Club, located on Jefferson Avenue. He was a young, fresh, young, proper brother, up and coming. Things that he said, things that he did, you know, it was just the ways of the street. He goes all the way back from Sarah Gardner. His mom owned a bar. Ronnie's history has perceived itself because he truly is a blessed person. He has been around. He's lived a fast life. From drugs to prostitution to just a whole new way of life. Ronnie has been a powerful inspiration to a lot of people, a lot of brothers that's stuck in the jungle and trying to come out. He is truly a powerful example. You know, we go back. We go back a long way.
So, to introduce myself, I'm Brenda English, native Rochesterian, been here all my life. I began coming to Elam about 10 years ago, which is where I met Ron. I don't know much about his past. I never knew him before I came to Elam. And when I met him, I was a little like, oh, hi, how you doing? then I was like, bye, see you later. And our paths, although we were at the same church, never connected until around 2009 when he asked me on a date. I finally gave in. And he's been a good guy. I don't know what people say about him or what his past was. I never knew him growing up. I never knew him. We didn't go to the same high schools, didn't live in the same neighborhoods. But he's a good man. He has a good heart. I love his love for God, which is one of the things that attracted me to him. I'm proud of how he has continued to carry on his deaconship for Elam. He's a very conscientious person. He has patience for nonsense that say I wouldn't in the church. And that's one of his strong points. He says he has a checkered past. I believe that. But I believe and I know for myself that God has truly worked in his life and changed his heart and made him into a great individual.
Talking about a very special man, Ron G. So many different things you probably could say about him. But if you're going to say anything, you got to say trendsetter. You got to say people's champ. And then you also have to say very well-spoken individual, smart, family man, very responsible individual, very caring of his family, of his friends. Just a man that you should be blessed to have ever came encountered with, and just my uncle, and the time being around him and things like that. Pick up a lot. It's a lot of jewels being dropped, a lot of things to learn. They may not have always been positive, you know what I'm saying, but for the most part, whatever you took from them was a learning experience. And my words of advice is just continue to be blessed the way you are, continue to bless others with your presence, and just wish them the best of luck, the best of success. And as you get more into watching the film and things like that, you'll also be able to see that this is an individual who was like a pioneer for a lot of different things, and responsible for a lot of people's characters and a lot of people's way of being out here in these streets and across the world, and just anywhere that he was blessed to step his feet and share jewels and knowledge and things like that of just what he's been through and what's been going on, and as of today, the path that he's taken today to lead others down the path of Christ and things like that is a major turnaround from where he might have been umpteen years ago and things like that. But with all that being said though, Ron G, pioneer, street legend, saved individual, blessed. I love y'all.
It's the man who turned me out to the game here, man. We go way back. I'm talking about from the 70s to the 80s. We started from the red card, man. And then started to the red card, putting them bras down. I ain't really know nothing about the game. This the man who really, and this just the truth, man. I ain't on no niggas tip or none of that thing. You understand? But this the one who really put me down with the game. You know, I gotta get credit where credit due, man. You understand? And that's just keeping it real. This is where it comes from. We call him Skinny B. That's where it comes from.
Tell me something about him, Skinny B. When you met him, how'd you meet him?
Well, I used to go to on Joseph Avenue. I lived on the west side, but I used to go on the east side, right? There was only a few of us that would go over there, you know. But when I met him, his mother had a bar. I liked him. I used to watch him. He was a sharp dude with a Cadillac, right? But he was limited to what he was doing. So, you know, he was a mama's boy. I was a mama's boy. So one day, we had a conversation. We went, I remember the first thing me and him ever did, we went to a Salvation Army store to look for some fur collars because we had just bought some leather coats. Right, so we went and bought some mink collars. We chased fur collars all day, right? At that time, he had a little white poodle, right? We had a white poodle and a white Cadillac. Right? And he thought real fast. After he seen them newer ones, right? He thought of something real quick. The man burned his car up in the parking lot of Sarah Gardner's, right? And got the insurance money, right? I ain't lying. They burned the car up in Sarah Gardner's parking lot. But after he got open, right, it wasn't really nothing. Listen, I didn't teach him. I just opened his eyes to some things that he just refused to see, right? And once I opened his eyes to him, he did his thing.
And
you know?
where did that take him? Where did that take him? Where did y'all go together, actually?
Man, we did a lot of things together. Well, it started on Main Street, Jefferson Avenue. Then we slipped out of here and we went to Newark, New Jersey, and we just took a whole town. We did. We just took a whole town. I left here with 2 holes in 3 weeks. I was 10 deep. He showed up with 3. The next week he had 8. So we was in Newark, New Jersey, but everybody loved us because they had never seen nothing like that. We got 18 holes on 2 corners. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we did a lot of things together, man. We really did. I gotta say, I enjoyed him for a long time. We never really had a disagreement. You know, we had some little things that we was able to get past, but I love him to death. He pissed me off right now. I'm a little mad at him right this minute, but, you know.
Is that something you can share with me about why you pissed off?
Why I'm pissed off? Because I don't see him enough.
Oh, okay.
You know. He got a job, man.
Well, check this out. You know, he in the...
Back in the 80s, 70s, Ronnie G and them had a bar. So I didn't know them though. I come with Dave, you know, to Rochester. I didn't know him. So I see Ronnie G one day. I'm like, he was smoking. So we goes back to Buffalo. I go up in the after hour joint. This nigga stand up in the after hour joint in Buffalo. He's sharp, you know. He had the white Cadillac with the wheel on the back of the trunk. So I'm like, that nigga kind of. They said that's my cousin Ronnie. So me and Ronnie met, right? And we've been cool like that ever since. And Ronnie, his style was like, I kind of bit a little bit off his style because I used to ride when I had my, you know, my cars and stuff. I was getting in the car, me and Dave ride with Ronnie G, and Ronnie would turn that music up and drive the car with his knees and be always popping it like this, yeah, you know. And so when I come down that track in New York, that man and everything, I put them hands up and, you know, I got that from him. So I was singing, I'm like, yeah, that's the only nigga. Then Dave said, me and Ronnie G, the only one. Dave said, his cousin, you and Ronnie G, the only one drive like that when y'all see them whole niggas get excited. You know what I'm saying? But he good people, man, and I've been, like I said, I've been knowing him a while. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing bad about him. All I know something good about the man, and hope he keep, you know, success, and you know, God bless him, and I love him, Ronnie G.
Right, that one, the one he had. I'm trying to figure out why would you,
Before, right? Because you was in there standing by the car, right?
Right, but I'm at the end because he said he needed some help. He said, I need some help. I got a problem, he wanted one of my girls to set up, police was a trick. He wanted my girls to set him up because he called a dope case, and he wanted my girl to set the police up so he can kill the police. So at the end, that's what happened. Because he said, and I said, nephew, I taught you better, man. I taught you to be sucker free, man. You don't be mixed up with the girls being a trick at the same time. You got to stay clear of that, you understand? That's at the end of the video. That's at the end of it.
Bringing this stuff.
2, 3. Yeah, man, you know, I'm glad that we're doing this here thing, man. You know the way I used to live, man. Games to be sold and not told, man. But you know, I'm glad that friends of mine came out and supported this here, man, to help be part of my life, man. Because you never forget where you come from. You understand? And the same people you meet growing up, the same ones you meet going down, man. And I know God, the true God of my understanding, had a lot to do with this here. Because a lot of friends that came up with me is not here today. And I want to send a shout out to the God of my understanding from my friend Jimmy Valentine. May he rest in peace. And I wish he could have got in this here. But I'm doing this here to send a message, a positive message, that anybody can get out the game. Because see, I got some friends that still locked in the game. But I remember, and this is in the book. The name of the book is called Sin of the Saints, The Road to Redemption. And I got a part of the book that was talking about when I was on Jefferson Avenue after all the hookers left, lost all the money, bodyguards, everybody, the party was over with. Then I got caught up in this drug thing. And I'll never forget this. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on Jefferson Avenue, and I was looking up to the sky with a raggedy army coat on. And I just said, God help me. And that was 21 years ago. So I give honor to the God of my understanding for bringing me out of the streets and putting me where I am today. I wouldn't trade this life for nothing in the world. This is the greatest show on earth. And I give God all the glory and the understanding. Peace.